Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the topic of snake oil. And snake oil doesn't just apply to the antivirus industry, but also to other industries, which I'll get to in a moment. But mainly, of course, antivirus software is under criticism, especially Kaspersky, because of the war in Ukraine and maybe even before that, since relations with Russia and various countries weren't so good. And then it was said that Kaspersky is a snooping software, a spy software, working together with the Kremlin. So what is the truth behind these rumors? The fact is, of course, that this antivirus software, not just from Kaspersky, but also from other manufacturers, deeply intervenes in your computer. That means when you install this software, it has simple access rights. And of course, it also needs to know what files are on the computer or in the email, because how else is it supposed to protect you? How else is it supposed to say this is ransomware or this could be a phishing email if this software were blind? So they really have to be able to deeply access the computer. They obviously need to know what documents are on there. But Kaspersky then responded with various transparency reports with, let me just check if I can pull this up again. Yes, with positive customer feedback, of course, with free trial versions, which were already available before, and with numerous awards. I myself have used Kaspersky for over 10 years, and I can definitely recommend it. But of course, you have to keep in mind that it was originally Russian software. And that's why Kaspersky then established a headquarters in Switzerland, created this transparency report, and still claims that they do not cooperate with the Russian government. Of course, everyone has to decide that for themselves. On the other hand, there are plenty of alternatives. Avira is definitely recommended, which is based here in Germany. Avast is from the Czech Republic. And then there's Bitdefender from Romania, which also receives very good reviews from all the computer magazines. These computer magazines, of course, advocate for antivirus software. But, and this is relatively new, they also emphasize that Windows Defender is now one of the best free antivirus programs you can have on your computer, and that it has won numerous tests. So, as a private user, I would say it's actually sufficient to just use Windows Defender. On the other hand, this year Windows Defender hasn't received such good ratings again because its phishing protection doesn't work that well, because it can't detect malware as effectively, including ransomware, because the settings are complicated, and because it uses more resources than other antivirus software. And yes, of course, many people also say that the suites are better, they have a password manager, they offer additional tools like program updates, VPN, and various other features. The question is, do you really need all of that? Can't you also use those things externally? Do you need that for a business or do you need it for personal use? And that's something everyone has to decide for themselves. That's what many people say. That's snake oil. You don't need it. It's a placebo. They promise that your computer will be secure and that nothing will ever happen again, that nothing will ever go wrong. And that's the dangerous part, that it gives people the impression that if I just install Kaspersky or Avast, I can basically turn off my brain because the antivirus will take care of everything else. For a long time, I used to think that way too, but I always kept it in the back of my mind, Well, antivirus can't really be that good, whether it's Windows Defender or Kaspersky, because there is still ransomware out there, millions and millions of cases worldwide. And it still happens, even with the best antivirus protection, because the point here is to train your awareness to know, okay, this could be a phishing email. It could be that if I click on this link, I'll be asked for my password, even though it's not a real site. It looks like ransomware. So really having an eye for it, is this ransomware or is it a real email? Which website is better not to click on? Which programs do we actually need? Do there really need to be so many programs on the PC and all these things, that you really keep educating yourself, attend trainings, and stay informed, because no antivirus in the world can do everything? And then, of course, there's the topic of snake oil when it comes to PC tools. TuneUp is especially well known. I also used it for a long time in the past, was enthusiastic about it, and it really did have very good reviews back then. It was one of the best tools. A friend of mine recommended it to me back then, and I was really impressed. But today, TuneUp belongs to AVG, I think. That is the sister company of Avast, and it's totally overloaded, comes with tons of tools, and offers additional settings that you don't even need. And a very well-known manufacturer in this area is IOBIT. I'd like to show you which tools are actually worth it and which ones you don't need. So here we have the IOBIT software updater. This one is definitely very useful because it allows you to keep your software on your computer up to date. Among other things, it updates browsers, but also tools like Bandicam. And it works automatically. You can try the free version or upgrade, and then these updates will be automatically suggested and installed for you. Then we have Smart Defrag. You don't need that. It used to make sense to defragment your hard drive, but nowadays it's pretty much useless. That's why, in my opinion, it's unnecessary, just like the IObit uninstaller. You can install it if you really want, for example, to make sure that Avira or Avast and all their leftover files are completely removed from your computer. But in my view, it's not essential software. Protected folder can be useful. This is about being able to encrypt folders so that, yes, you can protect these folders, practically secure them. For companies, of course, it's definitely useful to be able to encrypt them, to protect them with a password, and to have them function like a safe. But OneDrive also offers this in the free version, or at least in the paid version, so it's just a nice to have. What about drivers and updates? Driver Booster Free and Driver Booster Pro. From my point of view, and this is just my perspective, I recommend it because I think it's better than updating through Windows. Updates are important, and driver updates are important too. Windows updates and driver updates. And that's why I definitely recommend it. Of course, there are other well-known manufacturers as well. As I said, you can upgrade or use it for free, and I think it's useful because it's very clear and organized, and because it finds drivers that Windows and HP don't find. Speed up. Now that's really the ultimate snake oil. Adventure System Carefree and Pro, I've installed it and I've really tested it on several PCs. And what happens is that it makes the PC faster for a short time, makes it better for a short time. And then the following happens. More and more errors start to appear. It even got so bad recently that I had to reinstall Windows, and that's why my experience is stay away from TuneUp, Adventure System Care, WiseCare, and whatever they're all called, right? You don't need a PC cleaner. I mean, it's not something you need to clean regularly. Of course, you should always make sure not to install too many unnecessary programs or stuff the Windows system library full of countless documents. That's quite obvious. But these particular tools just make totally unrealistic and often misleading promises, and that's really what we commonly call snake oil. I mean, AI power, I could almost believe that. PC cleaning, okay, fine, but then, for example, here, 300% faster internet. That's complete nonsense because how is that supposed to work if the Wi-Fi itself is slow? And how is the PC supposed to become 200% faster if the hard drive is outdated and not a new SSD? So you really have to watch out for that, you know? And privacy is also a tricky issue, I'd say, because then your entire browsing history in Vivaldi or Chrome gets deleted and everything is gone. I've had that happen to me before, and I don't want that. Everyone has to decide that for themselves. It might be well-intentioned in this case, but no, in my opinion, this is really the classic example of typical snake oil. And my final conclusion, should you use antivirus protection or do you not need it? So, for working from home and for private users, Windows Defender is completely sufficient. For medium-sized and larger companies, I actually recommend Windows Defender Business or Bitdefender Business, Kaspersky Business. I think it's called Premium or Elite. And in that case, it's definitely worth equipping all PCs with business software with really good antivirus protection. But as a regular Windows user, Windows Defender is sufficient. And the tools that I actually use here are the IObit software updater, the IObit uninstaller, and the driver updater. They're useful, they're not snake oil, they're good, and I recommend them to you as well. And yeah, there's really nothing more to say about it, right? So there is the snake oil, the rumor is justified, but not all of it is snake oil. Thank you very much for your attention and see you in the next video.